tag team back
again.
Raj.
Herb, the Herbalicious.
Our process got a little inurban. So I was listening to our buddy, Air Raid Mike.
Okay.
And he had on a Georgia fan, and they were talking about that stuff. So
okay.
Unfortunately, our show's conflict tonight, so I will have to check that out later. But
yes, shout out to Air Raid Mike too, and the Air Raid podcast. Show. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is not spontaneous at all. That's so corny. I'm taking over ticker duties from now on. I'm gonna be.
You had the opportunity to do the ticker.
I know.
No lies were told.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. What is that song? Get into it, y'all. It's your fault for mentioning.
Yeah, but now I feel like I can't say anything because you're always going to come up. What's the name of that song?
Yeah, true. All right, Herbert Raj podcast.
Yes.
Thank you all for listening. If you're watching with us live, of course, thank you across YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
All platforms.
I guess we have to get into all the platforms. Or if you are somehow through Spotify listening to us on the broadcast, we definitely appreciate it. Appreciate your comments as we go along. Or if you've got, you can always send us in comments and we can read out stuff on there. So, and anyway, Rod, because they got me in the football mindset for a minute.
Right.
Let's talk. What are your pregame for the podcast, and how does it differ, or is it the same as your pregame for the show? I mean, for the game, a Bama game.
For an actual Bama game, pregame for a podcast is just making sure that I have. It's really short. Making sure that I have all my notes ready. Making sure that I'm on top of things. You and I may have like a little mini call just to double check everything. For a game, it might involve more extracurricular activities as far as just, having some more milk, things like that.
Some good milk.
Yes, good milk.
Old-fashioned milk.
Old-fashioned milk. Exactly. There you go. And now I'll for the Bama game. I also do check scores of other games that might be going on, or if games have been played previously to kind of see if our outcome affects anybody else in the league.
Somebody's already questioning our process.
Yeah, you guys have no. Shut up.
We have a whole production meeting. Big Mike,
right.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like we have notes because we go off schedule so quickly.
Right.
And he said, stay hydrated. Yeah. The milk that we drink probably does the opposite of hydration.
Right.
But we appreciate that.
Right. And I'm also a lot more nervous during the pregame when Alabama football games.
You're more nervous than going live to millions of people.
I actually am. I'm kind of getting in a good rhythm. I think we're both actually getting a good rhythm on the podcast. So I'm starting to become less and less nervous each time. Mm-hmm. But for a football game, it doesn't even matter who we play. I'm always nervous before a football game because anything could go wrong.
Yeah, and that's how I am. I usually can't eat before a game. If it's a 6 o'clock game, I'll usually get something in there. But if it's a 2:30 game, I better eat breakfast, or I'm probably not eating until 5 or 6. So that holds true, even if it's Middle Tennessee or whoever. It doesn't matter. That's
that Texas game number 2. I guarantee you, we're gonna be nervous about
that. That's gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
My only other thing other than that is I always take a shower before the game, and I do the same.
Are you serious?
Podcast. Yeah.
Wait, do you take a shower before the podcast or the game?
Yep, both.
That's okay.
For a Bama game, the only difference will be I'll take a shower, I'll put on all Bama stuff, including underwear and socks, and then I'll lay out other outfits in case I have to change
during halftime or something.
Yeah. Or quarters if the game the way you will, obviously, unless we're going to be there, but that's it. But yeah, I take a shower. Okay. Let's say it's a 2:30 game, or let's say it's a 6 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Right. And I showered when I woke up, and I'm just sitting there all day. 5 o'clock, 5:30, I'm taking a shower again before the game comes on.
Wow.
That's just the process.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. For the podcast, I always take a shower just so I don't stink you out or anything. So you don't
Well, at least we know. At least everybody knows you bathe on a regular basis. Yes.
Yes. So, and is that DJ making an appearance on here?
That is the almighty DJ. What's going on, DJ?
So if anybody wants to talk, so you missed last week when we were
I was just thinking
talk
the same
about
thing.
Everybody's prowess in basketball. So if you want to talk about one of the best shooters that I ever had the privilege of playing with,
that was DJ.
That was DJ.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, don't Don't ever. There will be no lying about anybody's abilities. And I say that because they tried to make me sound better than I was. And if he pops up today, he does have something to say, but he also wants me to tell a story about
who?
Max Dill's first women in basketball. So,
oh, gosh. I do have one question since DJ's here. We all heard when we lived overseas that there was one epic game, one-on-one game between you and DJ. Did that ever take place? And if so, who won?
I don't think it ever took place, but I would give the nod to because he could shoot. Like I could
DJ
shoot. I would, I would have had to try to back him down every time. And anytime I feel like if DJ got the ball first, it would never go back the other way.
Oh, but,
he said it did.
Somebody said it did. At Kelly, that's what I was thinking because I know you had to. At one point before we moved, you used to catch the bus over to Kelly to play with DJ a lot. That's all I'm saying. All right, DJ.
Wow.
DJ, who won? Who won?
He said that's all I'm saying. So.
No, you can't do that. Oh, come on.
It's a show. Oh, and by the way, I didn't miss this. This is Mike saying we appreciate it about me taking a shower before the podcast.
Yes, appreciate it. Yeah,
no problem. I'm nothing if not clean. So
all right.
Well, I said there no slander for sure. DJ, appreciate you keeping that quiet.
Yes.
Seriously, one of the best shooters I ever played with, man. So glad to see you checking in. And it was a Georgia fan on the broadcast that they brought up Alabama, and then he says, "We're Georgia. We don't worry about Alabama." I said, "But you guys are talking about us now." So he did kind of laugh. I didn't get his name. I'll have to check that on the rebroadcast. So
they think about us, and honestly, Bama fans, we think about Georgia too. We're not gonna lie. We think about them because we know we'll probably see y'all pretty much every year. So
and here's because we started off on different sides. I think that's where the whole thing. I think before we all lived in the same barrack, we started off on different sides. So there was a lot of definitely back and forth, man. We were, but he was one of those guys. Like as soon as you cross half court, you had to pick up. So that's that. And you know how me is. Like I wasn't gonna outscore anybody, so I had to play defense.
Yeah.
So and we appreciate you too, man. Thank you, sir. Glad to have you tuning in.
Appreciate it, man. Love you, DJ.
Just to cap off, just to end that Georgia thing, and we'll talk more about college football later. Raj and I are actually already planning out our preview sections. Then we're gonna have Bama beat on here as well to go through Alabama. So the chances that Georgia did not make the SEC championship game, 100% they're gonna make it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see the SEC championship game, which means if they're undefeated going to the SEC championship game, even if whoever comes out of the West happens to beat them, they're in the playoff.
They're gonna be in the play. Yeah.
So I think when we go into our previews, it almost feels like you're going to be looking around the country and thinking what are your other playoff teams and who can actually take them down. But if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm living high right now. There was nothing. I didn't say anything bad to the guy that was on there. What could I actually say?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a two-time defending national champions. And let's be honest, Stetson Bennett hasn't been the Heisman Trophy winning all elite quarterback that we've seen in years past. So regardless of who Georgia's quarterback is going to be this year, I think they'll be fine. They've got the defense, they got Kirby, they'll be just fine. And the schedule, they're always going to have that schedule in their favor.
Yeah. Well, I will say let's be fair to them. They didn't, the SEC East schedule. They don't, and they've played some tougher games in the past, starting off their year with Clemson. It's not their fault that Florida's fallen off a cliff.
Right.
Tennessee is falling off,
Yeah, because when we first SEC, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when the first SEC was first kind of.
Are you really sorry?
Not really.
Okay.
When the SEC was kind of became like a conference, I mean, remember Florida and Steve Spurrier were the dominant program for year in, year out. Even going into the 2000s, I think they won 2 national championships in the 2000s. And then
Tennessee was no slouch.
Tennessee was there too. Tennessee was there, and they were all in the East. And then it just seems like as Florida's last good team was probably when they had the 2 Kyles on there, 2020. We played them in the SEC championship game.
Yep.
After that, they just kind of fell off the past few years. So now it's a lot of people don't really look forward to what's known as the biggest cocktail party in the world. The Florida-Georgia game is just okay, what time is Georgia beating Florida today? So.
Right. So, all right. So
we'll dive into more of that.
Definitely. A little bit closer to the season.
Progresses.
We're thinking about it next week. Like I said, we're going to preview all the conferences. More emphasis on the SEC. So we've got some good stuff covered. And Mike made an appearance. I definitely have to mention, if you're following our YouTube channel and you see the videos we put out there, we do want to do a Lakers roundtable and a Dolphins roundtable to kind of recap the moves that both of those teams have made, and see just kind of where you guys are. We're in a group chat together.
Yeah.
And it's usually just overwhelming on them, and then me just insulting both teams because I'm a hater. So
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, pretty accurate. All right, free agency time.
Dun-dun-dun. Yes.
So where do you start with the disgruntled fans? Where do we start at? I mean, the disgruntled players. Teams running it back.
Okay.
And we will hold off on a team that I begrudgingly will tell you probably had one of the best off seasons out of anybody.
Okay.
So we will come back to that one because we will give you more than a Lakers minute to discuss that section. So Mike said he's always down for our roundtables, definitely.
Yes.
So DJ wants to start with Houston. So Houston made the Van Fleet. I don't know if he's worth the money, but so today, Raj, when I was working, I tuned into several different podcasts to try to get ready for this. There's a network that actually does nothing but they do a podcast every day for a particular team and for NBA. There's an NBA insider on there on one of the NBA one.
Right.
And he has a lot of respect for Van Vliet. So thanks to veteran presence, don't know if they maybe overpaid here. Maybe they just felt like they needed to start using their money. But obviously maturity was a problem in Houston the last few years. So it's time to get some veteran presence in there. So maybe that's why you get him and more of a natural point guard to help facilitate. So that move I see.
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks. 4 years at 80. But first off, who were you bidding against for Dillon Brooks?
Yeah.
And second, this is not – I'm not going to go into the Lakers series and that kind of stuff and down the man for that part. He is a good physical defender, right? And every once in a while shoot you into a game and shoot you out at the same time, right?
Right.
My point is he's not the mature leader that team needs right now. And that's why and so he said nobody exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like the money or signing him.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, first of all, I think after the Lakers series, I thought his value. This is my personal opinion. It felt like his value kind of decreased a little bit. So that $20 million a year is just kind of weird to me. And then again, as you just touched on, if you want to bring veteran presence into the locker room, you don't get Dillon Brooks.
No.
I mean, you might go out and get somebody like maybe a Pat Bev. Pat Bev can be irritating, but I think in the locker room, he might be able to calm some guys down and talk some sense into them. Dillon Brooks doesn't look like he wants to do any of that. He just wants, hey, give me the ball. He's probably going to walk in there with the outfit on, hey, I'm Dillon Brooks. I'm going to start every game. I'm going to shoot everything. I don't care about you guys. So I'm okay with the Van Fleet pickup. I think he's a good point guard. I think he'll definitely help out the team. But they're still young. Does this put them in playoff contention or anything? No, I don't think they're there. I don't even know if they're in the play-in, to be honest with you. They still got an extremely young team, and they've got some years to work on. And I feel like this was all done because months ago, I guess we started hearing rumors that, maybe about a month and a half ago, that James Harden wanted out of Philly, and then he was going to get traded to Houston, blah, 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 blah. But obviously that never transpired.
Yep.
So I guess they said, okay, since that's not going to happen, we still got to get us a good point guard. They got Van Fleet. I'm okay with that. Then, like you said, they gave Dillon Brooks a lot of money.
And 4 years to figure this out.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Like I said, I didn't get that at all. So, I mean, Houston might win a few more games than they did last year, but that's not saying a lot. Yeah. Without looking at how many they won last year, I mean, they're still going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Right. And you think that they're getting to the point where if they really wanted to make a splash, maybe they're packaging either a couple, one of the young guys and a couple picks,
right,
to get a more veteran presence, not signing an irritant. So I don't know. That was an interesting move. Not that Brooks doesn't have value somewhere. I didn't think this was the spot for him.
Just not. Yeah. I think we both agree that Dillon Brooks isn't like a bad player.
He's just not a good player.
He's a little annoying, but I just don't think Houston is the right fit for him.
Right. Agree. You mentioned you got to touch. You touched on it already, so we got to talk about James Harden now.
Yep.
I mean,
where do we stand with James Harden now? It's just like we.
Well, he opted in just to get traded.
Traded, right?
His camp has leaked that he's not happy with how Philly, treated his free agency. Which, by the way, I did listen to an interesting one this past week where somebody actually said because Philly, lost a second round pick on tampering with like PJ Tucker and one other player, right? That they were not going to talk to James until they actually could, and they let his camp know that. And I think that now, obviously, these are all rumors. Do I know any of it to be true? I don't. But that's kind of what's going around right now. Having said all that, James Harden is just not in a position to tell anyone he's upset about anything because that's all he does at this point. I was asked to go to these places.
Yeah.
And then you get upset when you get there.
I was just about to say that. I said, like, it seems like this is a pattern from him. He'll go somewhere new, be excited the first year, maybe two, and then be like, oh, I'm not happy here. I want to get traded. It's just a pattern. So now it's just like, how much money can he get if he goes somewhere else, basically? Harden will be 34, I think, next month. He'll be 34 years old. I think a lot of us can agree his best years are probably behind him now. He can still give you some points and some, play a good
assists. Yeah, led the league in assists still. So it does give the point guard, but definitely have to have a team where he's going to have the ball in his hands all the time.
Yes, that's
the Clippers is what's mentioned here for him, but it feels like if he goes to the Clippers, first off, they just re-signed Russell Westbrook, so that pairing is not going to work again.
You can't have both of them on the court, especially with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on the floor. That'll be
you don't really have to worry about that because that's probably not going to happen next year. having both of those guys on the court at the same time is probably not a worry. But if any team, and the Clippers are, I mentioned them just because that's the destination he wants to go to. But any team that signs Harden, he's only signed for one more year.
Yeah.
So you have to think, can I keep him happy and sign an extension? And would that be worth it? And you're signing a guy like Harden, you're only targeting teams that are in that, next 2 to 3 years have a chance at a championship, which, by the way,
would you put Philly. The Clippers in there as one of those teams?
Well, I think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard can both opt out next year, which is going to be a totally weird situation.
It is because
are they going to opt out? Who are they blaming it on?
I know, and I was about to say I think once we saw them join forces, we all expected so much from them. I didn't, of course, me being a LeBron fan, I wanted the Lakers to win the championship, but I feel like
you knew that the Clippers were probably the better team. And you guys would fear them for all the years that they were there, and you knew that you'd be overshadowed, and you thought that they would just be better. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying something.
Oh, man. I felt like by them getting two of the best, two-way players on the same team, I think that was going to do a lot for them. And I still think had they both been healthy last year, they could have made a really, really deep playoff run, maybe even make it to the conference finals, if not win it. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Like you said, they only have one more year left on the contract. I don't know what's going to happen next year. And I hate to say it, but it looks like at one point in the season, one of them is going to get hurt, most likely Kawhi Leonard. And that might just derail everything.
Yeah. And you've mentioned it a couple of times that you think something more serious is going on with Kawhi.
Yeah. So, I think that knee is really, really bad. And again, we're not wishing any ill will towards him, but I just think based on what happened last year and in previous years, I think there's something serious going on with his knee. And I really don't know how much longer he'll be able to play at a high level.
Agree. Which he hasn't played at a high level.
Right.
Really, since Toronto? So
right. He's had some flashes last year and some glimpses of brilliance, but it's just like once he got hurt in the playoffs, everybody all the Clipper fans, the Clipper fan base knew that's it.
Yeah. Winning that first game against Phoenix without Paul George out there, with Russ shooting 3 for 19, although he played great in all other areas, that already kind of showed you the kind of team the Clippers have. They've built a deep team and a good team, but you can't, Denver's not winning the title without Jokic and Murray not playing, so it's just not going to happen. And speaking of the Clippers, I was surprised. I guess the money doesn't totally shock me because I guess Russ is trying to stay there and rebuild. But then it surprises me for 2 years. And I got to look. You'll probably know already, Mike, if it's a player option or team option or something like that. If he signed a 1-year deal for 4, I would think, okay, Russ is trying to prepare himself to sign that one last big contract. But 2 of them just seems like I'm just stuck in the Clippers, and I realize it's just not going to get any better. I don't know. Maybe
that's what I'm thinking.
He sees an opportunity with the hurt stars to be a star. I don't know. Go ahead, Raj. I'm sorry.
No, that's what I was thinking too. I think I don't think he wants to be there any longer than the next 1 or 2 years because he knows that Kawhi Leonard, either Kawhi or Paul George, won't be there anywhere either. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, one of them leaves, if not both, then he'll be, I hate to say it, their star player for a little while, unless some other trades or something get mocked up in the next few years. And he could just stay there and shine and play a few more years, make some money, and then call it quits.
Yeah. Do you think he wins a title before he retires? Or do you think that even
I thought their best chance was this year. I really thought the Clippers could have won it this past year. So to answer your question, I don't think Westbrook's going to win the title.
Yeah. Dude, I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to be nice. You know, he rebuilt his value a little.
He did last year. Last year, after those 2 years he had with the Lakers. And Russ, let's be honest, he's not a bad player. It's all about the fit. It's all about the fit. It's all about the fit. I think, and this is still my opinion, when he was with the Lakers, I just felt like him being ball dominant and coming somewhere where he's playing third fiddle, that just made him extremely uncomfortable. Then he had some bad games, and then he wasn't really well received by the fans. And I think he was glad to leave LA, but then glad to leave the Lakers. I'm sorry. So he went to the Clippers.
I didn't see him having an option in the contract. So that's very interesting to me. 2 years, and I guess he's just basically saying this is maybe the only spot for me. So he does have to have a great season, which the ... part of it is if those two guys are out and he can just go be Russ on that team, then I think he'll be fine. He's got Zubac down low. He can do his best Steven Adams impression. Russ can dribble all around, hand off the ball to him, have him dunk it, get his assist up, probably shoot as much as he wants. So,
but Russ has that one ability that a lot of other players in the league don't have, and that is
the ability to not care.
Availability. That's what you were
saying. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't read.
Oh my goodness. I should have put that in the ticker.
Yeah. Okay. So we've taken up a lot of time and maybe not even touched on the biggest story yet.
Well, there's a couple big ones still out there. Which one do you want to start off with?
Well, talk about how I'm always so entertaining on the show. That'd be a good no, not okay. So how about Dame?
Yes.
Finally reaching his breaking point and saying it's time.
Yep. Once I think this is my opinion. Dame is well respected in the league, obviously well respected in Portland, well liked, etc. Great player. But I feel like I don't think he ever wanted to leave Portland because he was so focused on the loyalty aspect of the league. And in my opinion, again, I feel like there's really not a lot of loyalty in sports because organizations, when they don't need you, they have no problem trading you or whatever the case may be. True. He wanted to stay loyal to Portland. But once they gave Jeremy Grant that money, he was like, okay, so what? Huh?
Which I don't get.
Well, I don't get it either. He signed like a 5-year, 160 deal, and that's when Dame opened his eyes. Okay, they're not going to build around me. We got a young little backcourt here. Then we'll have Jeremy Grant, Nurkic. But outside of that, what am I supposed to do here? Yep. That's when he finally requested the trade. And
their best players are all real young too.
Yeah,
with Simons, Grant's not old, but he's not.
Yeah.
Young, but with Simons, and they just drafted. I mean, it's not.
And we don't know how good Scoot Henderson's going to be. We haven't, we saw he played good in the G League, but we don't know how well
that boy can scoot.
So, yeah. So I don't know. Dame did what he should have did a while ago, and he requested a trade. So now the big question is, where is he going to go? We know he wants to go to Miami, but from what we're hearing, it's going to take a third team to get involved to kind of make this transition happen. If it wasn't a third team, Miami would have to give up a lot. I've seen like mocks of like Tyler Hero,
Duncan Robinson,
like
Jaime, who hadn't even got to he ain't even got to there yet. And they'd have to give him they'd have to take the restrictions off of one of their picks that they traded to Oklahoma City so they could get another pick to trade, like so much stuff. So let me tell you what a Portland guy said, whatever package they get for Dame is going to suck. And he has prepared himself for this. So the problem with the Tyler Hero one is they don't want Tyler Hero, not because of the play, because they have 3 guys, Sharp, Simons, and Scoot, who are already like in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So they don't want that. That's one of the problems that with the trade.
Yeah.
And they're kind of in a crossroads. It's like general manager already came out and said, well, we're going to do what's best for the team.
Right.
Well, he's been in the job, like 2 years, I believe is what they said. They have not come any closer to building any kind of contender around him. They get fringe players, but not, they probably rode the CJ McCollum pairing too long, which is something I've said. It's a small jump shooting backcourt. It's just hard to go deep in the playoffs with just that. And I know what people say, well, what about the Splash Brothers? Well, they had a great defensive presence on that team as well. And then two of the greatest shooters of all time.
Right.
Like, unless you're going to put, CJ McCollum in that. Yeah, Dame, great, but it wasn't getting what he needed from the other part of it. They haven't built a great team around him.
Right.
And DJ, I think, they knew this was coming.
Yep.
He's talking about the Grant part of it. He has shown potential. I'm not worried about them keeping Grant because if you've kind of looked at different broadcasts we had on there, that's one of E's favorite players. He's one of our NBA guys, and he mocked him to several different teams. I'm more concerned about the money they gave him. It just seems like a lot for a guy who I'm not sure would be like your second best player on a champion. He just seems like more in that Rodman role instead of a Jordan or a Pippen role. So that's my only problem with that. And it's like paying that Grant that money and keeping all the youngsters your pitch to Dame, because that seems like a bad idea also.
Right.
So I definitely wouldn't have done that. And the biggest thing you have to do with NBA, Rod, is pick a direction that you're going.
Right.
Are you going to keep your guy and be a middling team? No. At some point, tearing it down you either want to be in the lottery or be like a top, 4 team.
Right.
You don't want to be in that middle ground, and that's where Portland has perpetually been.
Yep.
And I think those moves, like Scoot might be a great player, but he's not going to be a player along Dame's timeline.
Right.
So I would have been shopping Dame before the draft.
Yeah.
Not after. So.
I agree. And no, that's well put. And I do have a question regarding this entire situation. When the trade was announced, like I said, a lot of people came out.
The trade request. Yeah.
The trade request was announced. I'm sorry. A lot of people came out and verbalized their respects for Dame, and we get it. We're happy for him, etc. Back in around 2010, when LeBron decided that he wanted to leave Cleveland. And I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you, why was it not so well received? Why did things just go so south? Was it because he was from Ohio and all this type of stuff? And
how long had LeBron been there before he did that?
He'd been there about 8 years, or 8 seasons, about 7-8 years. So yeah, and then he decided.
It was still kind of at the beginning of player movement, so I don't think we're as used to it.
Yeah.
It looked like he bolted at like one of his first opportunities. But honestly, one of the bigger things probably was the way he did it, going on TV. And like Dame didn't have a special Saturday morning and say he was taking his talent somewhere.
Yeah.
But also, Raj, there's a difference, I guess, between just leaving as a free agent or asking for a trade. At least when you're asking for a trade, Dame's like, you guys can at least get something back for me.
Right.
When he left Cleveland, he just left him high and dry.
Yeah.
So it's not this, if Dame played out his contract and then left, Portland would probably feel a little different about it. But this situation also, he made displeasure known kind of at the end of the last year. And see, Mike agrees. It was definitely the whole
it was
decision.
a special. Yeah.
It was special. Yeah. I think that was definitely number one on it. Dame, I think, has stuck with this longer than a lot of people would have.
Yes.
And then
I
he
agree.
even said before the draft, I don't want to play with kids. Like, I'm 33. I can't carry a team of 19-year-olds, right? Which to me is just an honest assessment. And to me, if I'm the GM, before the thing gets ugly, I sit him down and say, look, man, we know Charlotte's taking Brandon Miller, like we're taking Scoot.
Right.
Like that's happened. Now, Brandon Miller, maybe if he had fallen to them, he fits that team better.
I was just going to ask that. What if
Brandon?
I was going to say, what if Portland had drafted Brandon Miller? Do you think things would be different? Because Dame would still get the ball a lot, and Brandon Miller's more like could play more of the three as opposed to
and a better defense.
And a better defense.
Maybe change the projection a little bit, maybe. Yeah. So, but when they got, and this is not a knock on Portland for drafting Scoot, This is a knock on them for not preparing. It's kind of like DJ said. Everyone knew this was coming. If you were going to draft Scoot, that should have been the decision with Dame before. And maybe you can squeeze something more out of somebody like coming into the draft.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe if you traded this with Miami before and they give you that pick, then you get who you want at that session. Because, they getting Jaime Vasquez was clearly like a Miami Heat type of player.
Yeah.
Versus if Portland has that pick before this draft, maybe they draft somebody different that's more fits their team and what they want to do. So I think Portland, the GM bungled the way they handled this. And now they're trying to just make Dame the scapegoat, but he's 33.
No, he's not. He's 30. He's actually 32. He'll be 33 on the 15th of this month. Just to let the record show that I corrected her. But I think overall, I think we're all happy for Dame, and we all want to see Dame win a ring. I would love to see. Honestly, I would love to see him in Miami. I think things would work well for him there. He would fit right in, especially with their culture, and he's exactly what they need. A guy can get you 25 to 30 a game. Jimmy Butler's not a ball hog. He's not ball dominant. Great two-way player. You got your big man down there, and bam, you have a nice team that can make it back to the finals.
Yep. And what they needed was more firepower against them, and that's what he brings to the table.
And it's just right now, it's just easier said than done, I guess. So we'll see over the next couple days or however long it takes to see what type of deal gets done, and if a third team jumps in here to kind of help out the situation. So
I guess a team that really would want Tyler Hero would have to jump in here and want to facilitate, but I don't know how big that market is. So, all right, we've kind of gone on about other stuff, so it's probably time. I wonder if we got anything. Let me just look over here. They got anything good for
Phoenix?
For Raj? No. We want to give you your Ooh, how about this?
Mike and I are waiting.
Time for the Lakers Minute. Raj?
Oh, yes.
Tell us about the Lakers.
All right, so the Lakers have had I give them a...
All right, time's up. So let's go on with it.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on. Give me some... Are you okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me about the Lakers.
All right. So Lakers have been active in free agency. I think Rob Pelinka's done a great job. I would give him probably an A- right now. Main thing coming in free agency was keeping Austin Reeves and who I call Rui Hachimura, who I call the Hachi Sauce. They did that. Check there. They got some really good pickups in Cam Reddish. My favorite pickup so far is Gabe Vincent. And I wanted Mike to comment who he thinks the best pickup is so far. But I think Gabe Vincent done excellent for Miami in the playoffs last year. He's a huge pickup, great shooter. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but he's a great three-point shooter as well.
I don't think he's actually a great three-point shooter because I feel like he's like the 33%er for his career or something like that.
I had to pull it up,
but I think it's what we saw in the playoffs. But he is a good defender as well. So
which we need.
And Mike agrees you with
Gabe as well is probably And Cam, I like Cam Reddish. That was kind of sneaky to me. I forgot I felt like he has a lot of untapped potential. I like Cam Reddish when he was at Duke.
This is why with the Gabe thing, it was awful finals. So
yeah.
he overachieved in the rest of the playoffs.
Him and Caleb Martin, they overachieved in the conference finals in especially against Boston, but in the finals, they just shot the ball horribly.
I need a sip of milk.
Oh, okay. I really like the pickup of Cam Reddish. I liked him when he was at Duke. He's had a couple of interesting years in the league, bounced around a few teams. I think it was Atlanta and then the New York Knicks. So I kind of feel like Cam Reddish he'll probably come off the bench and give you a couple of threes there. I think that's a good pickup. So overall, I give the Lakers pretty much an A-. We got another big man too in Jackson Hayes, huh?
Of course, Mike agrees with you that he thinks he's had the best. Yep.
And we got another big man in Jackson Hayes. I think he's about 6'11", so he can play the good center position when AD needs some minutes. Or hypothetically speaking, if AD was to magically get hurt or something, at least we got Jackson Hayes out there. So Lakers, so far so good. This is another team that can make it.
What I say, career 33%. He's actually career 34%.
Oh, so. Okay. You were a percent off.
No, I was a percent off.
All right. But no. I think the Lakers have done well. They've maintained basically the team. Oh, I forgot they re-signed D'Angelo Russell. If
You
he had
sound
left,
so depressed.
if he had left, I would have been okay with that.
Well, so pointing back to listening to different people today, and
yes.
The Lakers guy actually made some good points. He was like, people are remembering the Denver series and not giving him enough credit for what he can do in the regular season. Yeah, is he up and down? Yeah, but as a creator, D'Angelo Russell.
Oh yeah.
As a creator, actually one of your better 3-point shooters on the team by far. Ball handler, and was really good in the playoffs up until the Denver series.
Yep.
So I think I'm sorry. Are you?
One personal fan favorite that I'd hate to see go was Lonnie Walker. I think he signed a 1-year deal with the Nets. I like Lonnie Walker. I always thought he was a good scoring threat, but midway through the season, he kind of slid to the bench and just didn't get a lot of playing time, especially in the playoffs. He had that one good game with Golden State, but I personally like Lonnie Walker. I really, really was happy when he joined the Lakers, but shout out to Lonnie Walker. He's with the Nets now.
Yep. Did Rogers go through a whole segment and not mention Austin Reeves? I'm just so disappointed.
No, I mentioned him in Hachi Sauce. The first
I guess I remember Hachi Sauce.
Oh yeah, no. I mentioned him in Hachi Sauce at the beginning of the segment. So I think that was the main focus during the offseason. So they took care of that and got some new additions, had let a few people go.
And was that not playing? Was that to Lonnie Walker? Why weren't they playing him?
I don't know. I just feel
like he talks to LeBron every night, and he doesn't seem to know.
I felt like Austin Reeves and Hachi Sauce were playing better in the playoffs, and that just made him slide more to the bench. So, I don't know why he didn't get more playing time.
Hachi Sauce also.
I think it's a cool nickname. I think we should get some T-shirts made. Big Mike likes Hachi Sauce too, so I think we need to kind of focus on that and remember where it was said first on the Herb and Raj podcast.
Yeah.
So
a couple interesting things for me as far as the Lakers go as I drop my headphones and I can't even hear myself anymore. Am I still on? Can everybody hear me? Are you good?
Yes, we can hear you, genius.
I think two of the biggest things they kind of learned from Denver, but even bigger from Russell Westbrook, was they do not have to chase the big star.
Right.
They've got the big two, and that seems to work for most teams. And no matter what you think of Denver, it was still a big two.
Right.
Gordon and Porter are their fill-ins. They're kind of third guys, whichever, but they're still a big two. And I think the Lakers realized with this last run, what we need to do is bolster the depth on this team. Now, all those guys that we just mentioned, the bench is really shortened in the playoffs. You're really looking for about 7 guys, come playoff time, right? Maybe you throw a fringe 8 guy in to maybe spark a series. But having the depth that they has helps. So now that the threshold is 65 games is what you want to get to be eligible for any honors, right?
Correct.
That is probably a good benchmark for both AD and LeBron.
Yeah.
If we can just get 65 games out of you guys, we're probably fine. We're not a team that needs home court advantage. If we can get a top 4 seed, which I would easily put them in the top 4 in the West right now, then they're going to be fine. But they have enough guys now and enough depth to weather staggering those guys, have them in and out, and have enough guys, to make the playoffs. So.
And this is exactly what they didn't have last year. And I'll bring up one game specifically last year when LeBron was hurt and the Lakers lost to the Houston Rockets. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday night game. I forgot. They lost to the Houston Rockets. They shouldn't have lost to the Rockets, but since AD was out, the Rockets dominated the paint. They had like 65, 70 points in the paint, and they won that game. And we just didn't have anybody to back up AD. So I think with what the help we got this offseason, I think, like you said, it's going to put us at least top 4, top 5 team in the West. And that'll really, really help us if we can maintain that position and get home court in the playoffs.
Right.
So
I would agree. I would agree. And the Austin Reeves thing was interesting because somebody had to sign him to an – first off, I don't even know how much his agent and him, shopped and called. The Lakers offered them the max they could immediately when they could. Like what was the free agent started at 5 and at 4:59 and 59 seconds they offered him that, right? So another team has to offer, a bigger contract. So he has to go shop himself. They have to offer a contract knowing the Lakers are going to match. And they also have to, and this is what teams do whenever these come up. You have like 3 days, I think, to let it play. Or I guess until July 6th for sure, because that's when you actually can sign these contracts.
Yeah.
Your cap space is tied up until the other team matches. And whatever team that you are, like with the DeAndre Ayton, I think, or I can't remember if they signed DeAndre right away. But anyway, what they do is they don't offer you that contract. Like the Lakers would not have offered Reeves the bigger contract until those 3 days are up. So they're going to tell the team, your cap space is gone until we decide to offer it. They probably call Reeves and go, hey, man, we're finna offer you, in 3 days. Don't worry about it. We got you. You're coming back.
Right.
But the other team has to sit there and not sign. And why is that significant? I keep mentioning this a million times. Right, I had a lot of free time today.
Okay.
So
okay.
I listened to a Milwaukee Bucks podcast to kind of get where they were. And they mentioned on there that Lopez re-signed, but it took an extra 24 hours to sign, and he signed at a big number. But the 24 hours when that happened and they were waiting for Lopez, a lot of other free agents signed other places. And so after they signed Lopez, there's no other big splashes for them to make.
Right.
Because they've been sitting and waiting on that. And I think a lot of teams, like you saw how frenetic the first 2 days were. And I think a team has to say, hey, we're going to sign Reeves to this knowing we're not going to get him because the Lakers are going to match. And our cap space will be tied up to where we can't sign who we want to sign anyway.
Right.
And I think that's what it came out. And Mike, I don't know that if he tested or not. I don't know, because I honestly thought at the very least, like the Spurs would offer him a contract because they have cap space and no clear, like they
probably have the space, but would you want to go from LA to the Spurs? It's like
I would. Okay, Raj, here's the scenario. Because what did he sign for 4 years, like 52, whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
If I know the Spurs could offer me 4 years and 80 and the Lakers are going to match, I go sign with the Spurs.
Right.
Just so I can get more money. Right. And I think Austin Reeves is probably worth $20 million. If Dylan Brooks is getting 20, I would pay Austin Reeves 20. So that it's not, do I want to go there? It's the team is basically telling you, you can make the money, but we can't offer it to you. You got to go get somebody else to offer it to you. And so I don't know if he tested it. I don't know if they actually called anybody. I don't know, what happened there, but I definitely thought he was going to get more money out of the Lakers.
Yeah.
So, and I did mention the Bucks. I thought it was weird that Jay Crowder went back to the Bucks after he complained at the end of last year. So
how much longer is Jay Crowder going to be in the league?
I mean, he didn't play last year, so probably a lot of time.
All right.
Oh, and DJ said Reeves got a shoe deal. He said show deal, but he corrected it to shoes, so I don't think the money was a factor if he actually would have stayed in LA. I agree, and he does seem to like LA. So
it's
maybe
a big market.
He
likes it. Yeah, small town kid in a big market. He's getting paid. I think he's happy there.
Yeah, born to live in a small town. Okay, never mind. We won't start. Is that John Cougar Mellencamp?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Okay. I do think he could have stayed in LA if he had gotten a deal at 4 years for $80 million. I think LA could have matched that, and that would have been close to the $100 million. But I think he still would have been able to stay. But that's neither here nor there. Raj, you want to go to your? Let's see. This is not really great looking.
What's that?
You want to show this?
What's that?
Raj's top 5 list. So I presented Raj an interesting question because of free agency and everything that was going on. If you were going to pick a place to sign, but you're not picking it based on the team that's in place, you're going to pick it based on where you would want to live. Okay. So to clarify, if you were signing as a free, and it has to be an NBA city, a team that currently has. So to clarify this, for anybody that sells LA, you're not necessarily just picking it because of Lakers or Clippers. You're picking where you would sign because you would want to live in LA. Like me personally, been in the South too much, been in these like slow towns. Right. Like I could not handle LA or New York. So both of those would be off the table for me. Okay. So Raj, your top 5 NBA cities.
Yes.
That if you signed with as a free agent, you would actually want to live there.
And this is not, I really don't have this in a specific order. I am going to give you my 5 though.
Okay. Because you're wimping out and you don't want to.
Yeah. It's funny. Something. And it's funny you mentioned LA because LA is number 1 on my list.
Really?
I've only been to LA like twice, but I like LA. It is a little faster, fast paced, but I liked it. The weather's great. For me, it's about the weather. So when you hear the names on this list, there's nowhere up north. I just don't like cold weather. I can't do it. We've been living in the South other than of course overseas in Germany.
Stormy weather.
Pretty much the South, Alabama,
Since
Florida.
My woman and I've been together.
All right,
Keeps
number 2 on the
raining
list.
all the time.
Number 2 on the list is Miami. I love
Okay,
I love to
of
live in
course.
Miami for obvious reasons. Then I could also go to Dolphins games, so that'll help.
And you have
Number
some
3.
Miami stories, huh?
Huh?
You don't want to tell any Miami stories?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Number 3 is Dallas. I live in
Because you're already there?
Yeah, I mean, I like it here. I like the food. There's a lot to do. I like the nightlife here, so it's pretty cool.
All right, James.
Number 4, Phoenix. I've never been to Arizona. I know it does get hot in Phoenix, but I think Phoenix is would be a nice popping city.
When the sun goes down, I think it actually sits in Phoenix.
Probably so. It just said, all right, I'll chill here for the rest of the night. Yeah. And 5 is New Orleans. I think there's a lot of good, nice happening things in New Orleans. Good food, good Cajun food, good seafood. Bourbon Street, good nightlife.
Say no more. Yeah.
Those are my top 5. And
we're not going north.
We're not. When I thought about north, I thought about New York, but it's just gonna get too cold. And then New York is real fast paced, and then I wouldn't want to pay a whole bunch of money to live like in an apartment complex or a condo. If I'm paying that much, I need my own house and my own land, things like that, etc. But yeah, north. I just didn't want to go anywhere north.
Mike said he's more like me: San Antonio, Charlotte, Portland, Milwaukee, Indiana.
Yeah. I've been to San Antonio, and it just doesn't seem like there's a lot to do in San Antonio.
I like those picks because I like the smaller places. The
smaller.
Yeah, I would like New York and LA would never. Yeah. Miami, I couldn't afford. If I was a free agent, I have to sign a huge contract to live in Miami. So
your living expenses.
Yeah, if they were like, "Hey, can you sign for the veterans minimum?" I'd be like,
"No,
here
I cannot." Yeah,
I'd have to commute from Birmingham for every game.
Yeah, I know.
So we did cover it, and that's you got your Lakers in there. You got that. You saw the Suns actually kind of fill out their roster.
They got Eric Gordon
signed for cheap, which I thought was a big.
That was a good pickup. Yeah.
Oh, and that's what led me into my next question. I saw the Cavs actually signed a couple people in the East. The Kings look like they're going to stand pat, and they re-signed Harrison Barnes. Sabonis got a big extension.
And they signed the EuroLeague MVP. I don't remember the gentleman's name.
And that was when that one of E's picks, though.
Yeah.
Sasha.
I forgot the guy's name. Yeah.
Yep. So that was on E's. We're missing E this week, but obviously out busy. But that was one of his picks for the Sacramento Kings. Yep. So as it stands right now with free agency, there's not a lot of big names out there. There are some big trades still to be made. Who are your top 4 in the East and top 4 in the West as it sits right now?
Top 4 in the East. Oh man, see, I'm gonna say Miami, regardless of what happens with Dame. I'm saying Miami, Boston, Milwaukee. Even though Milwaukee got lost in the first round, right. Milwaukee, and again, I don't know if Harden's going to stay in Philly or not, but I put Philly in there. That's just right now. Right. I think Cleveland is a close 5.
Right.
I thought Cleveland was going to do better in this last year's playoffs, but they didn't. So those will be my top 4 in the East. West,
right.
Denver, and this is not in any specific order. Denver.
Oh, by the way, we do have to talk about Denver losing Brown. He wasn't a starter.
Brown wanted the money. He wanted the
money, and Denver couldn't offer him anything. So
you got a championship ring. Now it's time to go ahead and play the rest of your career and make some money. So you got 2 years, $45 million at the Pacers, I believe.
Yes.
I think he's going to Indiana. Okay, so obviously it's not about winning. If you want to
Mike's number 5 team.
Yeah. Top 4 in the West. Denver, Phoenix is right there. Phoenix has a really good chance if they can stay healthy to win it all next year. LA, the Lakers, of course, and this is a toughie because I feel like the 4th team could be either maybe Golden State, maybe the Clippers. The Clippers, of course, it depends on health. I'm gonna say the Clippers. Of course, I know it just depends on the health, but I'm gonna put the Clippers in number 4. If they can stay healthy, I think
the Clippers are along my health range right now. Whoever their physical therapist and my physical therapist are probably the same people.
And I said the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't. Okay, Denver, the Lakers, Phoenix.
Oh, you did because you said LA and you said the Lakers, of course. I guess maybe.
Yeah. So I'd say both LA teams, Denver and Phoenix.
And yeah, I think this was about Brown, and they lost Jeff Green as well. They'll have to fill out the bench a little bit more, but their starters, their core four, still out there.
They'll be all right.
So yeah, and I agree. I think Denver, Lakers, Phoenix, Warriors, probably in that order is what I give you. I don't know how much, are obviously the Kings. If Fox stays healthy, do they get past there? Do they keep their number 3 seed that they had this year? Does the defense improve? Memphis, is Steven Adams going to be healthy? And when this
Ja's missing, Ja's going to miss the first 20.
Memphis people are happy, really excited about Marcus Smart though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And being able
Don't forget, Ja's going to miss like the first 25 games.
Right. So I think Marcus Smart maybe helps them get past that, gives a little maturity. If they get Steven Adams back, maybe they're on a better trajectory. So in the East. Yeah, now Miami, they have to get Dame because it seems like they've lost some French pieces already. Boston, I feel like, is going to be your number 1 seed. Milwaukee, it's tough for me to say running it back is good when you were the number 1 seed and you lost.
Right.
They're still going to be good in the East, and I'm going to give Cleveland that 4 spot.
Okay.
Right now,
I can see that.
All right, Raj. It's a little early on in it, but do you want to get to the
Let's
questions
do it.
of death?
Get it. Let's do it.
Are you gonna do theme music for questions?
Nah.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm just gonna see what happens.
Wow. All right. We're gonna start off with work, play, live.
Yes, I love this one. All right.
So this one is like I got to find a way to make it harder though, because you're always like the play part is easy. But anyway, the concept is I'm gonna give you 3 people. You pick one person, that the play part is go out with, party. One person you work with is your coworker. You're spending 40 hours a week plus each week. And the live person. This person is your next door neighbor. So that for most people, like my next door neighbor, I see them every once in a while, but sometimes we need them to check on some of that. So that's the concept. You ready?
Yep.
All right. This is the duo phase of the show.
Okay.
Batman and Robin.
All right.
Han Solo and Chewie. And this was actually given to me by my niece, Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett.
All right. Batman and Robin. That's so weird. I'm glad I got some time. Han Solo or Chewie or Mike Lowry and Marcus. The bad boys. Okay. I'm going to. Oh man, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's because now you got 2 people that you want to play.
I'm gonna work with. I guess I'll work with Batman and Robin because I feel like they'd be really, really. Robin might balance out the fun and everything. He'll be the fun part, but Batman will be like, "You need to make sure you have your reports on time, or you're not good, or you're gonna get fired. Do you want that promotion?" I'm like, Batman, like I know who you are. You don't have to put on this thing. The whole world pretty much knows who you are by now.
Break it down.
I'll live. My neighbors will be Han Solo and Chewie. I think they'd be cool to hang out with, like just chilling out in the front yard, or hey, we don't want to go out. Let's just talk and have some beers or whatever.
Do you not worry about them having a smuggling operation right next to your house?
As long as I get a percentage, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I play with the bad boys guys, Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry. I play with them. I hang out with them. They seem like it's a good time.
Your problem there is Marcus is married, so there's gonna your fun is kind of gonna level out there. So you probably didn't take that into.
We can have a little fun. We'll have to have like a little curfew or whatever, but we'll have a little fun until 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You ready for another one? I got 3 of them for you. All right. Mr. Rogers, Ned Flanders, and Bob Ross.
Oh my gosh. I feel like out of all 3 of those, Ned Flanders might be like the one that might actually want to hang out if I could persuade him. So I'd hang out with Ned Flanders. I would work with, who is it, Bob Ross and who? Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
I'd work with Mr. Rogers because I just feel like I wouldn't have any beef with him.
You wouldn't be neighbors with the guy that says, "Won't you be my neighbor?"
I didn't think about that. You're right. You're right. You're right. Mr. Rogers will be my neighbor. I think he'd be the head of the HOA, but he'd always look out for me. And then I guess that means I'd have to hang out with. I mean, I'd have to work with Bob Ross. Yeah, there's a little bit of paint there in the background. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a hard one.
Oh, you ready for the terrible one?
Yep.
Okay. An alien, a predator.
What alien though?
An alien from the movie Aliens.
Okay.
Yeah. A predator from the movie Predators, or the Chitauri from Avengers.
You really did have a lot of time on your hands today.
Got too much time on my hands.
I mean, wait, which ones are the Chitauri? I forgot. What color are they?
From Alien? From Avengers movie. I don't remember. Grayish.
You can go any way with this one. I mean, I guess I'll work with the Chitauri because I know they'll. No. Yeah, I'll work with the Chitauri. I don't really have a good reason why I work for the Chitauri. I live next to the I guess I live next to the Predator because I think I can kind of. Herb, I don't know, and I'll work with, and I'll just work with the alien because he'll probably just kill everybody anyway. I don't know. There's no good answer to that one.
Maybe so. Mike, I did work, so I haven't started drinking just yet. This one, but this question
that was funny though. That was funny.
All right, let's speed through the one
right.
so we can get to the last. Number 2. In your developmental stage of your children,
yes.
Their first babysitter is going to be someone who influences them a lot.
Okay.
So who are you going to pick as a regular babysitter for them for ages, 3 through 8? An Auburn fan, a Tennessee fan, a Celtics fan who hates LeBron, or Jason Voorhees?
I'm going to go with Jason Voorhees. He will teach them how to protect themselves. They'll know how to defend themselves.
From him or
from anybody. I can't have those other 3 evil people around him. I'm just gonna come home and my kids are gonna have machetes in their hands, I guess. So,
wow.
I can't have any of those bad.
Father of the
somebody
year
that hates LeBron being around my kids. Not gonna happen.
All right.
I'm going with Voorhees.
And number 3, I know you were waiting on this question.
Yeah.
So this question was going to be Roger's original top 5, but then we made it basketball themed. But he really liked this question, so he wanted to give you his research and everything. Your top 5 players, regardless of position, NFL career is not considered in this question. So strictly based on what they did at Alabama, top 5 players of the Nick Saban era.
All right, I'll say this before I read off my list. They're all offensive players.
Of course.
And I feel like there's so many out there. It's very, very difficult.
Minka Fitzpatrick hates you right now, but that's fine.
I know, and I love Minka. He's one of my favorite players, but I didn't make a list. All right, number 1.
That is surprising.
I know. Number 1, and this is, of course, this can any order you want to. I don't care. Number 1, I started off with Julio Jones. I felt like he was Nick Saban's first real big recruit. Obviously, he's one of the best receivers we've had at Alabama and in the league, even though we're not talking about the league. Number 2, Tua. He's all-time touchdown leader. And what he did with the offense when he was healthy was just absolutely ridiculous. Keep in mind, he had like 4 of the best receivers we had at Alabama. Number 3, I also have Derrick Henry. I think he's second in yards. Obviously, he won the Heisman. And then I think in that Iron Bowl in 2014-15, he had like 271 rushing yards against Auburn, just completely just annihilated them. Number 4, Devontae Smith, all-time leader all-time leading receiver in yards and touchdowns, and obviously he won the Heisman in that perfect 2020 season. And number 5, I had to put AJ McCarron in there. 3 national titles. Yeah, three BCS national titles. Leader, and I think he's still a leader in total yards thrown too, as far as the quarterback. So those are my 5. And again, you could pick people in the honorable mention. You could put a gajillion different people in here, defensive, offensive people. That's a very difficult question. Yeah, so I got 2 quarterbacks, 2 receivers, and a running back.
Nice.
Yep.
Did you have one, because we discussed this, did you have one player that you're going to add from the non-Saban era?
I'm trying to think.
And if not, that's fine.
I don't know. Like, and you and I have actually discussed this before. Like, before we moved to Alabama, there were a lot. Like, I could say Joe Namath, but I was not there to watch Joe Namath play.
Right.
David Palmer, from what we hear, he was a great player, but again, I didn't get to see him play.
He was a little bit before our time.
So when we got there in '94, there was a good play. Oh, Sean Alexander.
That's who the only one that I thought was really.
I forgot about him.
Great
Sean Alexander.
He's
probably one of my favorite Alabama running backs of all time. So Sean Alexander definitely would have made the list.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
And so we'll end on this comment. If your kids can't hang with LeBron haters, how will they see Uncle Herb? Herb's not
LeBron's not a hater. Herb's not a LeBron hater. He's just not as big as a fan as you and I, Mike. Yes. So I'll let Herb over. Herb's got rights. Herb's got visitation rights.
Plus, I'm the one that'll teach him more about Alabama and stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm not really a LeBron hater, but I love to give you two guys a hard time about LeBron.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
All right, great show. Thank you to DJ and Mike.
Shout out to DJ and Mike.
Appreciate you guys. Raj, you killed it as always, man. You're greatest.
No, you did. Appreciate you.
I know I did. We'll see, guys. We'll see everybody next week, 7 o'clock. If any more craziness happens with the NBA, we'll definitely recap that. Or maybe it's time to delve into a little bit more college football. And Mike asked about notes. Like, half our notes don't end up even being used, but
right,
because that means we're enjoying.
I still got papers over here from old stuff that I never threw them away because I never thought these questions would be answered. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw them away now because I don't think we're gonna talk about stuff anyway. Yeah.
So Raj, the biggest question left on everybody's mind: are you gonna man up and do the ticker next week, or do I need to keep doing it?
Yeah, because this is ridiculous what you put down here the past 2 weeks. So I really have to man up and take over the ticker. I'm taking over ticker duty.
All right. For Herbert Raj, the Herbert Raj podcast. Appreciate you, everybody. Oh, we also do have to. I did watch Mr. Yu's show this morning. It's always got to give him
I got to check that out.
Yep, got to check it out. It was a good one.
Shout out to Mr. Yu.
All right. Herbert Raj
guys.
podcast. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And as always,
roll Tide.